Each hydraulically fractured well requires thousands to millions of gallons of water. Hydraulic fracturing activities in the United States use on average 44 billion gallons of water a year. Approximately 9.4 million people live within 1 mile of a hydraulically fractured well. Approximately 6,800 sources of drinking water for public water systems were located within 1 mile of at least one hydraulically fractured well. We do not address other concerns raised about hydraulic fracturing specifically or about oil and gas exploration and production activities more generally. This report does not discuss the potential impacts of hydraulic fracturing on other water uses, agriculture or industry, other aspects of the environment, such as air quality or ecosystems, worker health or safety, or communities. This report is not a human health risk assessment. It does not identify populations that are exposed to chemicals, estimate the extent of exposure, or estimate the incidence of human health impacts. There are above and below ground mechanisms by which hydraulic fracturing activities have the potential to impact drinking water resources. We did not find evidence that these mechanisms have led to widespread, systematic impacts on drinking water resources in the United States. Massachusetts' large proportion of most hydraulic fracturing chemicals tend to remain in water. Oral reference values meeting the criteria used in this assessment were not available for the majority of chemicals used in hydraulic fracturing fluids, representing a significant data gap for hazard identification. Reference values and oral slope factors are important for understanding the potential human health effects resulting from exposure to a chemical. Chronic oral reference values were available for 7% of the 1,076 chemicals, and oral slope factors were available for 1% of the chemicals. Of the chemicals that had values available, the health endpoints associated with those values include the potential for carcinogens, immune system effects, changes in body weight, changes in blood chemistry, cardiotoxicity, neurotoxicity, liver and kidney toxicity, and reproductive and developmental toxicity. However, it is important to note that evaluating any potential risk to human populations would require knowledge of the specific chemicals that are present at a particular site, whether or not humans are exposed to chemicals, and if so, at what levels and for what duration, and the toxicity of the chemicals. Accordingly, consideration of hazards and risk associated with these chemical additives is beyond the scope of this assessment. We're going to blend a little bit now. Should we have what there was? Okay, I'll None of the spills of hydraulic fracturing fluid were reported to have reached groundwater. It can take several years for spilled fluids to infiltrate soil and leach into groundwater. Thus, it may not be immediately apparent whether a spill has reached groundwater or not. Older or inactive wells near a hydraulic fracturing operation may pose an even greater potential for impacts. The Interstate Oil and Gas Compact Commission estimates that over 1 million wells may have been drilled in the United States prior to a formal regulatory system being in place, and the status and location of many of these wells are unknown. The frequency of on-site spills from hydraulic fracturing activities could be estimated for 2 states, but not nationally. We identified 134 chemicals that may have been detected in hydraulic fracturing produced water. Data on measured chemical concentrations in produced water were available for 75 of these 134 chemicals. The composition of produced water must be determined through sampling and analysis, both of which have limitations due to challenges in accessing production equipment. In conclusion, we did not find evidence that these mechanisms have led to widespread, systematic impacts on drinking water resources in the United States.
So we will be processing this information and you know, really breaking it down into the greatest detail that we can. And when we're through, we will produce our results and we will post them here in specimen bags.
To be continued.